Bang.
What's up, man? Y'all, we there?
Con.
All right. First and foremost, I'm going to give call hello Yahweh, Bahashim Mashiach Yahushua. It's all praises to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son, who the word really calls Jesus Christ, Yahushua Mashiach in Hebrew. All right. This is another couch that Captivity has created. I'm joined by my well-esteemed colleagues, Officer Yaziar, you understand? He's going to have a very powerful reader here with him, you know what I'm saying? My main man, Soldier the Car, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to get this shit popping, you understand? We're going to see everybody. Listen, they talking about my hair, though, bro. Y'all see the hair?
That's the experience.
Listen, it's gray all over this thing.
Character.
That is crazy. I'll be 39 in 2 days.
About to have a curry.
About to have a Caribbean. I don't know why you moved up there, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
We raised you.
Hey, Soldier the Car is back on the couch.
Hey, man.
Right?
You never been on the couch, huh?
Right, and
That's fucking crazy. Without further ado, I'm going to let my main man do what he do.
All praise. All praises. The car in the easy, right? Coach Easy. For y'all that don't know, Car is a Long Beach original, right? Born and bred Long Beach.
Long Beach.
The original couch crew in Compton, he was there, right? His brother moved up to the Bay Area, you know what I'm saying? Be close to the family and whatnot, right?
So you say.
Right? Moved up to the Bay Area, but still doing the work with Sicari San Fran. So, this is the most traveled soldier, I think, in all of Sicari. I done seen you in about 6 different camps.
That's about
right?
Yeah.
Why?
You've been in New York,
Tampa, New York, Tampa, Orlando, TJ, San Diego, went to Philly.
Well, you really out here trying to make a name for yourself, boy.
Hey, that's what's up.
Brotherhood.
That's what's up, man.
Brotherhood.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
All praises.
All praises. Look, through the spirit, we was talking about this earlier, man. And the lesson for the day really is about, can you endure? You know what I'm saying? Can you stand the trial? Because as you see the goal, if you could hit the title for me, King, as you can see the title of the class, right? Is gold is tried by the fire. See what I'm saying? Gold is tried by the fire. Right? Yeah, just click on show. There we go. As you can see the title. And when tough times come up, you got to refer back to this word. That's the only thing. That's the light. That's the only thing that's going to keep you on path and guide you through the valley of the shadow of death. Because as the time gets near to the end, so does the wickedness, right? So does the signs that let you know that these prophecies are unfolding before our face, right? We see wars and rumors of wars. We see wickedness prevailing throughout the schools and the society. We see the young women, right? Our young women want to be hot girls, want to get their body count up and compete with each other for body count when they're young girls. Then by the time they're in their late 20s, early 30s, now they turn around their life and they struggle and find a husband. Meanwhile, the young men want to be city boys, right? Want to go do their thing, but then they're not learning how to be leaders. It's a sad scenario because it's a trickle down effect, right? And my generation, I got a son that's 24 years old, and a lot of Sicarians, my son's age or younger, 25 or younger, right? So I can relate to them in certain ways because I experienced it with my son. This generation is different, right? Technology age, everything's right at your fingers. Don't wait, can't wait. Gotta have it now. You know what I'm saying? Short attention span. They like that because of my generation, right? My generation is like how we are because of my parents' generation, and so on and so forth. But this is how we break this generational curse: is we return to the old way that's good. And that's these law, statutes, commandments, and the word of God. See what I'm saying? So we're gonna start out with the word of God. I'm gonna start out with Zechariah 13. I'm gonna read 8 through 9. Better pull that up real quick. 13, yeah. And we're gonna start at 8 and go to 9. There we go. Who that read that? Okay.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 13 and verse 8.
Uh-huh.
And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die.
Look, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You know, we out there doing this work day in, day out, week in and week out. We're constantly trying to do more work, right? That's our goal, is to do nothing but this work. You see? Because it's evident how much work there is that's needed to be done. Because we know that 2/3 is not gonna make it. But even that 1/3, you're gonna be tried by the fire, just like gold. You know what I'm saying? But we just looking for that number to be sealed so the elect can get up out of here and return to our home and return to our kingdom. All right, get that again.
Verse 8.
Mhm.
And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die,
Uh-huh.
but the 3rd part shall be left therein.
Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9. And I will bring the 3rd part through the fire,
Mm-hmm.
and I will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried.
Uh-huh.
They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my God.
Right? Precious metals are tried by the fire. Right? You ever watch the show Gold Rush back in the day? All right. I used to be a junkie for that show, right? I think it's on Discovery Channel or whatever. But these Edomites would get all these bulldozers and backhoes and go in the middle of nowhere in Alaska digging dirt, a football field worth of dirt, right? And they run it through a machine, rinse off the dirt. And a football field of dirt, they'll get a couple jars of dirty gold, right? You're like, man, all that work for that little bit of gold, but then they take that dirty gold and melt it down, and they get out that pure, you know what I'm saying? That pure gold. And it was running like at one point probably $1,500 an ounce. Right? So they go out there and dig up a football field just to find that little bit of gold. I liken that to what we doing in the street. See what I'm saying? We might pass by 1,000 people a day. Fly. Kashop be sweating through his shirt. You know what I'm saying? We got to give him the Reverend Jackson rag. You know what I'm saying? Out there sweat. Flyers. You know? People passing by, getting off the bus, getting off the train. And it might be one that even act like they listen. That's the same way the Edomites do in going looking for their gold, right? That's the same way we got to do on behalf of the Most High to find the flock, to gather this elect and seal up that number so we can get up out of here, right? I'm gonna go to my favorite book, Sirach, chapter 2, and it's gonna reiterate. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
From the top.
Yeah. Go down the spot.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 2 from the top. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
You got to prepare your soul for temptation. See, brothers like to come into this truth on fire, right? I can say for myself, I found this truth in my late 40s. So I spent probably 46 years of my life just, you know what I'm saying, doing all kind of debauchery, right? All kind of wicked things. Knowing about the Bible, but not understanding the Bible. Because I grew up around Christianity. But I was always repulsed by the fact that it didn't rhyme and reason the way they explained it in church. But when I first started hearing the truth, man, I was lit. I was on fire. But then a lot of wisdom from the elders let me know, look, Don't want to come in blazing hot and then spiral out. Gotta be diligent. Only way to endure this thing is for your faith to be unflappable. You have to have unflappable faith, and by that faith, it's gonna measure your works. See what I'm saying? You gotta pattern yourself after your elders that have made an example before, like Yahushua, like Job, right? Like Zacharias, men that walk upright. See what I'm saying? And an example for Job, when Job lost everything, right? Job was a rich man, wealthy man, big family, big wealth, right? Cattle, riches, lost it all, even lost his health, right? But did he give up on the Lord? Nah, he stayed true. See what I'm saying? Let's get that.
What's up?
Yeah.
Come on. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 2 from the top. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright.
Right? How do you set your heart aright? How do you circumcise your heart? Right? You keep these law, statutes, and commandments. Right? You do the Lord's will. And faith is a work. Faith is a commandment. So you got to have faith in the Most High and faith in the Son, Yahushua Hamashiach. See what I'm saying? And you got to do the work. Faith without works is dead.
Come on. Set thyself aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
Don't trip when things get hard. See what I'm saying? Oh, come across right. Don't trip when things become difficult. See what I'm saying?
Come on.
It's easy. It's real easy to blame somebody on your outcomes, right? So I know a lot of brothers ain't lazy. They put out a lot of effort, but the outcome is not there. So brothers get frustrated. But if you read the scripture and it tells you, look, bro, it's gonna be holes in your cistern. You're gonna have a bag with holes in it. Your basket ain't gonna stay full. You see what I'm saying? You're gonna work, you ain't gonna see no proceeds. That's part of the curses. So how do we reverse these curses? You got to keep these law, statute, commandments, return to the old way, and be ready for battle. Because this is a war. This is a spiritual war, right? We fishers of men right now, and we trying to find the men that we could plant that seed in the Most High going to yield the fruit.
Come on, picking up at verse 3. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
Right.
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
Right. You got to be patient when you change to a low estate. Like the disciples, right? Like Brother Paul, the Apostle Paul. All through the books of Acts, you see brothers that was following Paul, they went through it. So they took it cheerfully because they know what Yahushua said. They said they're going to hate you for my name's sake. Matter of fact, I was talking about Job earlier. Let me get Job 29:3. Right? Because we know what the marvelous light is, right? It's His word. See what I'm saying? That's these instructions. The word of God. That's the light that's going to illuminate the path, right? But Job went through it. And everybody was telling him, man, look how your God treated you, man. His own wife was telling him, why don't you just curse that guy and let's get on with our life. Job wasn't with that. He stayed true to the Most High. He stayed down for the cause. He went through it, right? Let me get that real quick.
This is the book of Job, chapter 29, verse 3. When his candle shined upon my head, and when by his light I walked through darkness.
Right? This is Job telling you how he made it through what he went through, right? Because the candle shining upon his head is his faith and his works. You know what I'm saying? His word. That's what gave him the light. You see what I'm saying? Read that again, King.
Come. Starting back at verse 3. When his candle shined upon my head, and when by his light I walked through darkness. As I was in the days of my youth, when the secret of God was upon my tabernacle, when the Almighty was yet with me, when my children were about me, when I washed my steps with butter.
Right? Hey, he washed his steps with butter. That means it was greasy for him, bro. He had it. See what I'm saying? He had that button, right? But
Con. And the rock powdered me out rivers of oil.
right,
Salakia poured. And the rock poured me out rivers of oil.
he was getting that oil, right? That's a valuable commodity. Oil for your lamps, oil for cooking, right?
Con. Verse 7. When I went out to the gate through the city, when I prepared my seat in the street, the young men saw me and hid themselves.
Right? He was a beast in the streets. You see what I'm saying? He was like the lion coming through the forest, like through the jungle, right? Like Debo. You hear that goddamn beach cruiser coming down the street. You see Debo. What brothers do? They tear out. They get back on the porch. You know what I'm saying? At best, most of them is back inside because they ain't on the street when Debo come through. Because Debo was that man, right?
Picking up in verse 8. And the aides arose and stood up. The princes refrained talking and laid their hand on their mouth.
Look, the princes laid their hand on their mouth. The elders stood up for him. This man was like E.F. Hutton. Whatever he say, they're gonna listen, right? Go ahead.
Verse 10. The nobles held their peace, and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth.
Right.
When the ear heard me, then it blessed me.
Right. This man goes on and on throughout this chapter about how he had it. Then he explains over several chapters how he lost it all and how all his friends and his wife was telling him, man, won't you just curse God? He doing you like that? He stayed true to the end. And in the end, everything he lost was regained and then some. Plus he had his soul intact, right? His soul wasn't blemished. Right? He didn't curse the Most High God and blame God on the trials that he got to go through. If you want to be part of that number, you got to go through the trial. You got to go through the fight. And you got to come out with the impurities burnt off you and enough substance left to be part of that number. If you mostly impurities, the fire gonna burn you out. You know what I'm saying? And you got to try again on the next round. You feel me? But that first go round, only the elect is gonna escape that second death. See what I'm saying? Only the elect is gonna pull through the fire. And now I need to get a Strong's up. Yeah. Let me get the Strong's up here. You can go back up to verse 3. Just get the Strong's for Job. Or no, it's not in verse 3. Should be at the top. Yeah, just get the Strong's for Job. And this one thing we got to understand. It's not easy doing this work, right? I know brother after brother after brother, my elders telling me, look, man, it's not easy. Your family gonna hate you. Your wives gonna hate you. Your children might even hate you. Your friends from the world gonna hate you. Why? Because you're speaking this truth. Because you professing your faith in Christ and the Most High God, and professing the fact that we as Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and indigenous people of America, our main calling in life right now is to return to the law, statutes, and commandments. Return to our heritage, right? Hebrew Israelites, descendants of our forefather Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel. See what I'm saying? That's what we need to do. That's our message for our people hate us for. You'd be surprised. People, you tell brother, hey man, you a king, brother. Brother want to fight you. What you mean I'm a king? What's up? Trying to play me? All right, it's a sickness. The curses is a sickness, right? But you gotta endure that. And you gotta approach brothers that hate you with love. That's not an easy thing to do. But through the spirit, there's nothing else you can do when you're working in the spirit. See what I'm saying? Because the spirit won't allow you to go up like that. But you gotta be diligent. See what I'm saying? Let me get that Strong's for Job. All right.
What verse?
It's Strong's.
First one.
H 37. Yeah. We can go down. Let's get the biblical use. Outline of biblical use. There you go. Right? Job professes love for the Most High. He professes faith for the Most High. his friends probably got sick and tired of him talking about it, right? They probably got sick and tired of seeing him go through it and not complain. So he went from being top dog, right, to being bottom of the barrel. And believe me, when you up on top of the hill, oh, you got plenty of friends, right? But when you go through the valley, they run away from you. All them so-called Klingon friends, they run away from you like how the roaches do when you turn the light on in the kitchen. Some niggas in there having a good time on that spoon, that one spoon with a little bit of jelly left on it, got 1,000 roaches on it. You turn the light on, they gone. That's how fake friends are in the world, right? It was avoiding Job like the plague. He was a hated man. And what does his name mean?
God.
Job.
This is the Strong's H347. It's Ayawaka.
Yeah, you said Ayawab.
Ayawab.
Yeah. Paleo.
Khan. Hated, a patriarch, the subject of the book of Job.
Right? Hated. Job's name is hated. You know how the old folks say your name, it means something? He was hated because he was a prime example of how to love the Most High. Right? Yahweh Shai Hamashiach said his followers will be hated as well for his name's sake. You see what I'm saying? So that's just an example prime example of our forefathers that did it right. How to remember the old way when you're going through a trial. When you're going through something, you wake up, you ain't having your best day, the bills ain't adding up to the income, and whoop-de-whoop, things is tough, car breaking down, the old lady giving you trouble, the kid cutting up, stuff breaking around the house, and you can't seem to get your hand on how to get things in order. You got to look inside your spirit, right? Because the Most High not going to give you more than you can handle. You understand? So let's go. Let me get 2 Timothy 2, 3 and 4. You got to be a soldier in this war. You know what I'm saying? And you got to get your armor up. A lot of brothers don't understand what equipment is required for this battle. You see what I'm saying? And we're going to go through that. Yeah.
So,
2 Timothy 2, start at 3, we're going to go to 4.
This is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 3.
Uh-huh.
Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach.
Right? We got to be good soldiers of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, and that requires us to endure hardness. Right? You look at some of the top combat sports and the top, what they call collision sports, right? MMA, boxing, football, wrestling, things that's physically demanding, that your body takes a beating. You know what a fighter does, right? A fighter goes in the gym and trains for 2 or 3 months, damn near killing himself, right? To the point every day where you about to die. You give your all every day. And all throughout, you might have injuries. You injure your hand. You might pull a bicep. You might get caught to the ribs. See what I'm saying? You might catch an elbow, right? No fighter has ever stepped into the ring for no significant fight without an injury. Have you ever heard of a fighter complain about, oh, I got sore ribs going into this fight? Nah, you shake it off because that's part of the game. If you ain't got no lumps, you ain't training. See what I'm saying? Football. I played football a good part of my life. It was not a single season where I didn't have at least 2 or 3 injuries. See what I'm saying? Surgeries here and there. You got to have treatment twice a day. And did it gladly just for the chance to get on the field. And Sarge brought out one of my favorite verses earlier from Luke 4 and 28. You know what I'm saying? As it was your way to go astray, when you return to the Lord, you do so 10 times harder. And I'm paraphrasing, right? Probably butchered that verse, but 10 times harder. So when I was in the world, getting brain injuries and 5 different orthopedic surgeries, torn muscles, torn ligaments, busted up feet, every joint in my hands is busted, shoulders busted. I love the sport that much, but I didn't care. If I can be that dedicated to something that futile as a sport, right? Where keeping it 100, brothers is nothing more than modern day chattel slaves. They in there looking at the board. Yeah, I got this one. I got him. Oh yeah, we got him. They looking at you like possessions. And you know what happened to that #1 draft pick that go out there and get a career-ending injury? The agents is on the phone. Get the meat wagon. Get him out of here. We need another one. Don't care. There's 1,000 niggas just like him that's biting that chunk ready to get in. So if I can dedicate my life to something like that, why can't I go 10 times harder for something that has a reward that's multitudes exponentially greater, right? Eternally greater. That's the mindset you gotta have. Let me get that.
From verse 3?
Yeah.
It's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach.
Right.
No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life.
Look, no man that war entangle himself with the affairs of this life. When we go out there on the block, we go out there to the neighborhoods, through the community preaching this word, we're going to war. Yes, it's spiritual war, but we physically putting our life on the line too. And you can't approach it with fear. You got to go out there with the acceptance that, hey, anything can happen. But if I'm doing the Lord's work, I'm gonna take whatever comes with joy, with cheerfulness, right? Because that's how a warrior thinks. Because a warrior honestly believes in the battle that they're fighting. You're a veteran, right? You signed up.
Yeah.
You believed in what you signed up for. And you went out there and did your duty. I never heard this man complain. Not once. I have to talk to him for an hour for him to get to talk about that. But I just want to get you to understand the mentality of a soldier, right? We all learn from each other. That's a good thing that I learned, you know what I'm saying, from Dakar is humility and levelness, right? Because if you've been through it, it's not a big shock when something happens. You know how to brace for it and recover. See what I'm saying? What they say? Adapt.
Adapt and overcome.
Adapt and overcome. You see what I'm saying? We need to do that for the Most High God. Right?
Finish in verse 4. That he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier.
Right? We didn't pick this lifestyle. The Most High dragged us into this. Right? So no one goes to the Father except the Father draw you. You know what I'm saying? It means literally drag you to him. And if the Most High God got you in his hand, can't no man snatch you out of it. Right? It's up to the Most High if you put this fire out. So that's why you got to pray daily that the Most High give you the spirit to endure, give you the tools to endure. Right? We was talking about the proper armor. Let me get Ephesians 6 real quick. A little bit of a sidebar. All right. So, yeah, the armor. Get on.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 10.
Right, and we're just gonna go over the tools that you need to arm yourself up for this spiritual battle, spiritual war as a proper soldier. See what I'm saying? Yeah.
Come. Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
Right? You got to put on the whole armor. Because if you got weaknesses, the enemy is going to get in. It's going to attack. Right? You got to withstand the wiles of the devil. Why? Because as soon as that seed is planted, Satan is there waiting to stomp it out. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Come, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Right? Rulers of the darkness of this world, spiritual wickedness in high places. You understand what's going on, right? Even our arch enemy. Look at our arch enemy, the Edomites. Right? The one who has touched the apple of the Most High's eye in the worst possible way, and is one of the only nation of people that will be utterly destroyed for their hatred of Jacob. See what I'm saying? Even our arch enemy, you got to understand how they operate. All of them ain't power brokers, right? It's a small percentage of the Edomites that run this country and run this world. A very small percentage. I would dare to say less than the 1% are the real power brokers, right? They always talking about the 1% in America. 1% income earners is above 400,000 a year, right? But it's some people that use $400,000 for toilet paper. See what I'm saying? That's just another boat for the kid. I'll write it off. See what I'm saying? It's CEOs that get $40 million bonuses at the end of every year. Like I had to learn this the hard way growing up playing sports. Because I seen brothers you broke in college and then they all of a sudden they got a $10 million contract. I'm like, balling. But guess what? Uncle Sam gonna come get his 40%. You go buy you a house, tie some money up in a nice house. It's gonna cost you $10,000-$20,000 a month to upkeep the pool and the lawn and utilities in the house. Right? The bigger house you get, the more upkeep you need. You need a staff and a maid and this and that for the kids. When you on the road, you traveling, you got all these expenses. You get you a couple nice whips. You get mom's a house, mom's a whip. You do all the things that you wanted to do, and you like, I'm good. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get these millions every year, right? Then you go out there and you blow your knee out. Now all of a sudden, the signing bonus they gave you, they're like, yeah, you needed to play for 5 years to earn that $5 million that we gave you up front, and so you only played for 1 year, so you owe us a smooth $4 million. I seen it happen, right? That's that recoupment in the music game, right? They pay for all your production and all this and that. You go out there sell 1 million records and you still owe them money. So I seen brothers in sports go out there, make it, but don't make it. And then I seen brothers that made it, where they good financially, but they beholden to the powers that be. They can't go hang out with certain people because they got, what do they call it? Publicists, yeah. Right? That tell them everything they can say, every interview they can do. Right? If you notice, a lot of these former athletes end up working for networks. You know what I'm saying? As analysts and such. Because they are part of that family. They are beholden to them people. You think, name the top athlete. Who's the top earning athlete? Probably in a baseball. The pitcher, what's the kid? Anyway, the top baseball player probably earned, I know Mike Trout signed a $120,000 contract. Yeah, right? It's like a 5-year contract for $120,000 million. 120 million, right?
You just had dude just signed 270. He had the black assistant. I think it was 270 for 5 years.
His mom.
What sport? Football, right? Oh yeah, that's the quarterback, right? For the Chiefs, right?
No.
Oh, brand new player. Right. 270 million for 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. Sound good, right? What's that, like 40 million a year? 40 plus a year? Sound good. But how fat you think the pockets is of the man that's writing them checks?
That part.
Bro, look, let me tell you this, bro. I done showed up to NFL fields and, players got a parking lot, right? You got a rookie parking lot that might have a small Benz or a small Beamer. Then you got the veteran parking lot that might have you some Rolls Royces and some big Benz and big trucks. And then you got the heliport and the airstrip for the GMs and owners. See what I'm saying? If my salary cap is $100 million a year, do the math, bro. Mm-hmm. They're not gonna lose money. They getting it. They caked up. That's why they treat brothers like they treat them, expendable, right? So I do this long explanation to let you know. Me personally, I know it's a lot of brothers that dedicated themselves. What you got there?
Lamar Jackson.
Oh,
yeah,
Lamar Jackson. He just I was waiting for that.
260
he signed
million a year.
He signed back with Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they smart.
$52 million a year.
Yeah, 52 a year. They want him for the rest of his career. Now it's a gamble because if they win one Super Bowl, they're good with the TV rights and the perpetuity of they're forever that year's champions. So every year you mention that year, they getting paid.
Yeah.
Right? They're not tripping. They want Lamar there for the rest of his career because if he goes anywhere else, he's gonna be a problem for them.
You had Jalen Hurts,
Hurts for the
51 million
Eagles.
a year. Yep.
Right?
That's other.
So that's why they don't want brothers being quarterback because little truth be told, the quarterback
Better contract.
is half of the whole team's salary.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That's more than Aaron Rodgers.
Look,
Aaron Rodgers is
the
50.
third string quarterback probably make more than the first string running back. See what I'm saying? It's straight pimp game. But I killed myself for the first 25 years of my life to be part of that game. That's why for the next rest of my life, I'm going all out for the Most High. 10 times harder than I did on the football field. See what I'm saying? That's the mentality you gotta have because you gotta build your armor. You can't jump out there in a fight and you ain't been sparring and you ain't been hitting the bag and you ain't been running miles. You know what I'm saying? Can't do it. Your body won't be able to take the punishment. The first hit, you done. See what I'm saying? That's why Ryan Garcia got exposed. He wasn't training as hard as Tank was. You can fool yourself if you want to, but I read between the lines. See what I'm saying?
Picking up at verse 13.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 13. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God,
Right?
that ye may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all, to stand.
Right?
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth,
Uh-huh.
and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
Right? It's the first two most important vital parts, right? Your loins, because that's, your future, right? That's a sensitive area for good reasons. And then your breastplate is covering your vitals, your lung and your heart, right? So read that again.
Verse 13. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God,
Uh-huh.
that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand.
Go ahead.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth,
Uh-huh.
and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
The breastplate of righteousness, right? His laws are righteousness. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And your feet shod with preparation of the gospel of peace.
Now look, what does that mean? Have your feet shod, right? That means firmly planted. Your foundation rooted with the gospel of peace. Now we know what the gospel is, right?
Yeah.
We can go to Luke, where Yahweh quotes it from Isaiah 61, right? So we know what the gospel of peace is. It's peace for the Israelites, not peace for our enemies. And when you know, it's something about it. When you know you about to whoop somebody ass and they about to get it, it's a certain calm that comes about, right? You know you're gonna get your get back, but you just gotta wait your turn. That's all we're doing right now. We're putting in this work. We're in the gym right now. We hitting the weights. We hitting the bag, right? We sparring. We sharpening the swords. We getting ready. We going out there recruiting. More brothers are coming to the gym, so that when it come down to it, we gonna be ready. But you don't want to be the one that's been missing training days, been doing the bare minimum, and then when the heat come, you ain't got your arm on. All right, go ahead.
Verse 16. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
The shield of faith, right? Matt, you ever seen one of them old school battles where they take the archers, they're like archers, boom, and they let it go. And then buddies got to stand there with their shield. You know what I'm saying? Catching arrows. Hey, you gotta have faith in that shield, right? So the shield of faith that we have is faith in the Most High and faith in our Savior, Yahushua Mashiach, who will come and reestablish His kingdom and rule as the King of our nation of Israel. See what I'm saying? That's heaven to us. Hell right now is being under the foot our enemies. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And take the helmet of salvation
Mm-hmm.
and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
Right? You got to take the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Right? What did it say Christ is? Christ is the spirit of prophecy. What is prophecy? The word of God. Double-edged sword. See what I'm saying? The helmet of salvation, knowing I'm covered. I'm protected. Because I got my faith. My loins is girded. I got righteousness on my breastplate. I got a double-edged sword in my hand. My feet is shod to the ground. I'm set. I got my cleats on. Right? We ready. You me? Go ahead and finish the last one.
Verse 18. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
Look, perseverance. Look at that word again. Endurance, perseverance, right? You got to persevere. You got to endure. This ain't an easy walk, and nothing good is easy. And this is the best thing going, right? The best thing ever. So, of course, it ain't going to be easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, the problem with people these days, from what I can see, is the world is shifting towards this anarchist mentality where I shouldn't have to answer to anybody. I can create my own reality. I can create my own moral standard. Basically, people want to be their own God. They want to make their own truth. See what I'm saying? Why? Because these words right here burn them up. They can't go in there reading these words and live that life. It'll burn you up. See what I'm saying? Go through the law. Matter of fact, just read Deuteronomy 28, right? And see the curses. If you don't obey God's law, read the curses. Go ahead, King. Yeah, go ahead.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 5 and verse 14. Where
Let me get that. Oh, my God. You good?
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 5 and verse 14. Wherefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire,
Right?
and this people wood, and it shall devour them.
Right? Can't nobody come up against the word of the Most High God, because his word does not go out and come back void. So all these scoffers, they can mock, they can scoff all they want. The simple ones is going to love simplicity. But if you got a little bit of understanding and you're dealing with this wisdom, you're going to have a better sense, you see what I'm saying, to stay diligent, to make call into election sure. See what I'm saying? And there's too many people out here these days, they soft as toilet paper. They don't want to hear nothing. They want no accountability. They don't want to take correction, right? And I think it's this generation especially is because there's so much information at hand. It's almost like it's information overload, and nothing is settled. Nothing has a foundation. It's just a little bunch of bits and pieces, and so they're easily shifting from one thing to the next. And what's the thing? Everybody want to quote Tupac like it's the Bible. Only God can judge me, right? Where they get that from? Nowhere in the Bible does it say only God can judge you. Now, the Most High God is going to issue out judgment, but as far as judging people, that's the job of the righteous. Matter of fact, let me get first start with the law, Leviticus 19 and 15. Right? Don't let nobody fool you into that neo, whatever it is, this modern day mentality of, well, you shouldn't judge anybody. What they're saying is you shouldn't rebuke anybody. And that's a damn lie, because we're going to read it right here. Go ahead.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 15. You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment.
Right.
Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty.
Right. So it says, do no unrighteousness in judgment. right? Meaning judge righteously. No matter if a man is poor or rich, a righteous judge is going to judge them according to their deeds, not according to what they got or their status. See what I'm saying? You're not a respecter of persons, right? Go ahead.
Continue in verse 15. But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor.
Right? Keep going.
Verse 16.
Get into 17.
Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord.
See, you see this recurring theme? Thy people, thy neighbor, right? It's letting you know that those are the children of Israel. Those are your brothers and sisters, right? Thy people, thy neighbor. It says, when you judge someone, you judge them righteously. Not like our court system, because we can sit there and see somebody with a bunch of money get away with bloody murder. Because they got the high-powered lawyer and, you know what I'm saying, the whoopie-whoop.
I got a preset.
They got all the money for the lawyers and the loopholes, right? And then you see a poor man get railroaded and do 30 plus years for a crime he didn't even commit. This American system ain't righteous. And they got the nerve to hold a Bible up when you go to court. I'm surprised it ain't, what do you call that? Simultaneous, combustion? Spontaneous combustion.
They make you swear on the Bible. They don't even believe it.
Right. They don't believe the very word. You got a precept, King?
Con. Sirach 45.
Oh yeah. Good. I like that whole. Any from 40 on, I'll move the Sirach when I was studying.
26.
45 and 26.
Con.
Whenever you're ready, King.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 45 and verse 26. God give you wisdom in your heart to judge his people in righteousness,
Right.
that their good things be not abolished, and that their glory may endure forever.
Beautiful precept. All the key words is hit right there. Look. Judge, he says, God give you wisdom, right, in your heart to judge, right, in righteousness. And it says down here, their good things be not abolished, and that their glory may endure forever. Look at that word endure again.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? Beautiful precept. We was in Leviticus, right?
19, 17.
Yeah. Go ahead with 17. Because as we read, you matter of fact, start back at 15. Because you hear the recurring pattern. Thy neighbor, thy people. Right? Thy neighbor, thy people. Start back at 15. We're gonna just read through to 17, and we're gonna see a good part of what we need to prepare for, right?
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 15. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor.
Right.
Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people.
Thy people.
Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor.
It's like,
I am the Lord.
Okay. The blood of thy neighbor, thy people. Don't go up and down being a talebearer. Look at social media nowadays. Everybody think they know everything instantly. How many fake news stories is on social media every day? And it's people, the way they got it set up is so that you only gonna see stuff that you likely to agree with.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes these people live in these little silos of truth, right? Little bubbles of truth, and nobody is exchanging true information because righteousness is nowhere in that equation. See what I'm saying? You got people chatting up this and chatting up that, telling this rumor and telling that rumor. As soon as something hit the web, it can go viral and it can be a whole full lie. See what I'm saying? That's you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that to your neighbor, to your people. All right, go ahead.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 17.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
Say, read that again.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor,
Right?
and not suffer sin upon him.
Look, I don't care if my brother hate me for telling him he going on. As long as I know that in my heart, I know I'm telling what the Most High told me, and I'm doing it out of love, I can care less if my brother hate me for that. You know what? Whether they hear or whether they forbear, it's my job to tell them. So the next time somebody tell you, well, you can't judge me, or don't be so judgmental. Well, why are you judging her? You know what people that say that is the people that want wickedness to prevail. Right? You say something about the small hats on social media. What you think gonna happen to your account? Right? You can't say the truth, but it's people that can go out there and put out a whole bunch of lies real quick and get away with it. It's wickedness. Right? Say something about a certain alphabet community. See how fast they cancel you. But you can go on there and say all kind of niggas. See what I'm saying? Since Elon Musk took over Twitter, nigga is the most trending word. Because all them crackers from Fortran came over to Twitter.
Or New York.
Right? Lord bless him. Lord bless him.
Lord bless him.
Lord bless his heart. Hey, look. Anyway, as I digress, right? Read 17 again, right? Because everybody that says that, I want you to hear this. If you've ever said, well, don't judge me, or only God can judge me, like a Tupac lyric, the law, this is what the law says. Read that, King.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 17.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
Right.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor,
Right.
and not suffer sin upon him.
Thy brother, thy neighbor, thy people, right? Matter of fact,
Verse 18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
right? Thy neighbor, thy brother, the children of thy people, right? You see that? Reiterate. That's your family. That's your nation, Israel. These laws tell us how to live with each other morally, civilly, through our ceremonies, right? And even our dietary. It tells us how to live. When I was a freshman in college, I think, I was just still exploring spirituality, and I read How to Eat to Live. You know what I'm saying? It was, one of my brothers was in the Nation of Islam, and I wasn't really into Islam like that, but I was like, I'm an athlete. I'm gonna get the most out of what God gave me. But He gave me a small frame. You know what I'm saying? So I had to maximize my training. So I wanted to eat right. Through the Spirit, all praise to the Most High. I have not, can't say I haven't eaten pork, because there's been times where I didn't know it was pepperoni or something here and there, and it made me instantly sick. But since I was 17 years old, I wasn't eating no pork. Now, my poison, I'm from the low country. That doggone crab, man, that was the hardest thing for me. That damn crab, I'm telling you. But
The butter on it.
oh man, right? Crab leg, man. Look, I eat the whole blue crab. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
backflood.
But when I read this book, and Leviticus 11 told me, look, anything in the water, if it don't have fins and scales, don't eat it. It's a wrap. Done. I don't want no more crab. See what I'm saying? It's as repulsive to me as pork now. Just because spiritually, I fear what the Most High say. See what I'm saying? And it makes sense because I sat there and watched some of my elders suffer and die from carotid artery blockage and, the gout and whatnot. See what I'm saying? A lot of that is dietary. So we just follow the Most High laws, a lot of these problems wouldn't exist. But because we don't follow the laws, our problems are magnified. See what I'm saying? Because we're being punished for that. All right, we went to Leviticus. Go
So
to,
there's a little more on that.
go ahead, finish it.
Finish in verse 18. But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Uh-huh.
I am the Lord.
Right? This is commandments from the Most High God. Right? Get Christ works. Go to John 7. 24. You know what I'm saying? I like to show you how the Most High God laid down the law, and then Christ come right back and reiterate the same thing. Because anybody that come try to sit there and tell me, well, Christ nailed the law to the cross, and we just need to have faith. Anybody can join. Man, get up the street with that. You ain't reading this book. Damn sure you ain't reading this book. See what I'm saying? The Hawashai Hamashiach gonna tell you, keep the commandments. All right? Get that from 24.
Now, this is the book of John, chapter 7, and verse.
Matter of fact, go up a couple. Where did the context start on that? 621. So way up there. Let's see. No. Start there at 21. 22. No, 21. 21. Yeah.
Okay, John.
Go ahead.
This is the book of John, chapter 7, verse 21.
Red letter.
Yahushua answered and said unto them, I have done one work, and ye all marvel.
Right? So look, the Pharisees is up in the temple being wicked, but they scoffing at Yahushua for doing good works. He circumcised a brother, right? And they scoffing at him because they up in there trying to be seen of men, being wicked. Well, Yahushua gonna come. Read that.
Verse 21. Yahushua answered and said unto them, I have done one work, and ye all marvel. Moses therefore gave unto you circumcision,
Right.
not because it is of Moses, but of the fathers.
Right.
And ye on the Sabbath day circumcise a man.
So look, this ain't Christ telling you, this ain't Moses' law. They refer to the Torah as Moses' law. This is God's instruction. Who the prophet Moses was used as a vessel to deliver it to us. But this is God's instruction. And Christ will tell you 1,000 times in the Bible, or 1,000 times over, I do the will of the Father. It's not my will, but the will of him who sent me. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't see past this connection that Christ and the Father, not only are they not the same hypostatic, whatever, what's all the breakdowns, a Trinitarian,
Oneness. Right.
Right? It's a I know what they got. Co-equal, coexistent, the hypostatic union.
It's just that.
And then what's the other one?
Oneness.
1 plus, yeah.
Oneness.
Something. Oneness. The oneness. Right? You got all this folly that try to make mishmash out of what the word is saying and make it all mystical when it's real simple. See what I'm saying? You got to have the Most High Father, right? The no beginning, no end. He exists, Yahweh. And you have his son, the firstborn from the dead, Yahweh Shai, who from the foundation of the earth, before the seas and the mountains existed, he existed, right? He was created. And look, what was his job to do? What was his treasure? The whole universe. Everything seen and unseen is his possession. Why? Because he's the firstborn from the dead, right? He's the Most High's firstborn. Who's the Most High's first nation? Israel, right? You have I only known, first and only. So what's our inheritance? Everything seen on the world. But if you want to get your inheritance, you got to act right. You can't be a disgruntled child and expect to get your trust fund. It's requirements you got to meet, right? Or else it's poverty for you. What are you up now?
Verse 23. If a man on the Sabbath day receives circumcision, that the law of Moses should not be broken, are ye angry at me because I have made a man every whit whole on the Sabbath day?
Right? He healed a man on the Sabbath day and they tripped, right? But it's because they wicked. They not judging righteously. They trying to catch him up. Go ahead.
Verse 24. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgments.
This is Yahweh Shah. So if you got a problem with me rebuking my brother because he going off, or rebuking my neighbor because I see them going off, then you got a problem with Yahweh Shah. The word Christ should not come out of your mouth is if you yelling Tupac lyrics at me when I'm doing my best to correct you to the best of my knowledge, right? Because I tell you what, I keep it 100. Once we do what we supposed to do, whether you hear or forbear, you hold up with it?
Con.
What you got? Because I was gonna go to Ezekiel 3. Oh, get that before we go to
Con. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15.
Slaki. Can you put that on the screen? Go back. Yeah. Go back to the chat.
The chat?
Yeah, go back to the stream yard. See that super chat?
Oh.
Hit show.
Mm.
Click show. Hey, awakening sister, the water sis, Habatha. I mean,
God.
week in and week out, she there.
Oh.
She there. You know what I'm saying? And that dove goes a long way, sis. We love you, we appreciate you. That dove goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? It'll get us, you know what I'm saying, a couple miles up the road. Right? So look, we love you, sister. We appreciate your diligence and your consistency. I can't say it enough. Habatha sis. Habashim Shabbat. Right? Look, we do this for y'all, Akim, Ahwat, right? We labor, it's a labor of love for our people. See what I'm saying? We ain't doing this to get famous. We ain't doing this to get rich. A lot of us has lost a lot of greenbacks doing this work, but a room full of money ain't going to equate to the prize that we get in the kingdom. So this take precedence, right? This takes precedence because if you have faith and you do the work, the Most High gonna hold you down. See what I'm saying? So, awakening sister, once again, the water, and the heart process. All right. So let's get back to that one.
Con.
Precept, yeah.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 15.
Let me pull it up real quick. 1 Corinthians 2. There you go.
Con. Slaki. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15.
Uh-huh.
But he that is spiritual judgeth all things,
Right?
yet he himself is judged of no man.
See, he that is spiritual judges all things. See what I'm saying? So look, you got to get yourself right. You got to understand what Yahweh Shah is talking about in it. He's not doing away with the law. He's accentuating the law. It's almost like before Yahweh Shah came, you know, you had the abridged version, you know, because brothers back in the day, they had more understanding of what they were supposed to do, you know what I'm saying, when we was living kind of like how we were supposed to. But the more we went through captivities, the more spread apart the diaspora got, the further we got. And once we were deprived of our land and our temple, lawlessness really prevailed, right? You're talking about dark times, famine of the word. See what I'm saying? Wickedness prevailed, right? But Yahweh Shai, he reiterated the law, and that's why he came down and challenged the Pharisees, and he instructed his disciples to go back to the upper room, and the Holy Spirit is going to come deal with you. That's what's here for us right now is the comfort. That's what gives us remembrance of all things. How we acted in the days when we walked as our forefathers and lived righteously. We got to remember that because the time again is going to come. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be prepared for it because it ain't going to be fun to be in the 2/3. See what I'm saying? A lot of gnashing and grinding of teeth. You finished with that one? All right. So, you went through Ephesians 6. Oh, I wanted to get Ezekiel chapter 3 real quick, right? Because I can't say it enough of what we need to do. And we talk about what our job is, but it's only so much the men of the Lord can do, it's up to the Most High to decide whether that individual, if that seed is going to take hold or not. All we can do is the numbers game. It's a numbers game. You know what I'm saying? Hey, out of 1,000, if one comes around, the angels rejoice. So, you know what I'm saying? It's what you call a thankless job, but the reward on the end, it's called delayed gratification, folks. You might not get nothing up front, but the reward on the end, you're set. You set eternally, right?
17.
Yeah, you can start. Yeah, start at 17.
God. There's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and verse 17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel.
Right.
Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me.
Hey, this is what the Most High sent his prophets to tell us. He has made us watchmen over the house of Israel, right? And we out here to give warning. We out here literally with microphones and speakers screaming down the block, telling whoever will hear his word. Right? Read.
Verse 18. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, that the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity.
Right? He gonna get it, but guess what?
But in his blood, but his blood I will require at thine hand.
You see what I'm saying? Remember the other scripture in Leviticus 19 that said, thou shalt rebuke. You know what I'm saying? You shall rebuke thy brother, thy neighbor, and suffer not sin upon thy brother. It's our job. We are commanded when we see our people going off to let them know their error. If we was blessed enough to get this truth and this understanding of what is pleasing to the Most High and what is not, how would you sit there and watch your loved one waddle in sin and not say nothing? You got to understand, you got to look at the nation as your brother, your sister, your loved one. Not how the West look at it as this nuclear family where you got a mother, father, and 2.5 kids, right? That's societal control, right? That's so they can put everybody on the census and put you on a neighborhood block by block, and everybody go to work in traffic together, work like cattle. Everybody go back home and eat dinner and get back up and do it again, right? We're not talking about that idea of a family. We're talking about a nation. See what I'm saying? A nation descended from our forefather Jacob, surnamed Israel, who had 12 sons that make the 12 tribes, right? We got to get to that mentality. We can't have an individual like mentality like, I'm good. See what I'm saying? I can't be worried about the next man. I'm good. How many brothers I've seen say that? Athletes, entertainers, right? It's sad. And you know how many high and mighty, so-called sanctified Negroes I see in the especially the Black Christian church. I could care less about so-called white evangelicals. Damn, in the Black Christian church, you know how many high and mighty niggas is in there with their nose up and won't say nothing to the thug out there selling dope on the block, won't even talk to him. When the Most High told you, you're supposed to go up to that young brother with love and say, hey, bro, what's going on, man? I know y'all is doing your thing, but check this out. Let me talk to you. It's the way. It's the truth. It's the light. Let me shine someone. Whether they hear it for bear, that's on them. But if you ain't got enough empathy and love for your people to see a young man out there risking his life, right? You should feel the same way as if you see your sibling standing in front of the damn train on the train track and the train is coming. You should have the urgency to go out there and do your best to get him out of harm's way. Most High will is going to be the Most High will, but you are commanded to make the effort. See what I'm saying? So go start back at 17.
God. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and verse 17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand.
Hey, to whom much is given, much is expected. The Most High God is not going to give you these gifts for you to sit and tuck away. You're supposed to go out there and multiply your gifts. And the way you multiply a gift, wise man once gave me this analogy, man. He said, a candle loses nothing from lighting another. See what I'm saying? You sitting there holding the candle, you sitting there holding the light, and you see your brother with a candle ain't got no light. What harm does it do you to reach over and light his candle? Now you got twice as much light. And you keep doing that. Now you're magnifying the light. You see what I'm saying? It don't harm you to shed the light on somebody. That's why we go in the trenches. That's why we go to the hood. That's why SAR's eyes light up when he see a gangster. Tatted, the most grimy. Hey, Paul, stop that brother. Stop that brother. Let's talk to him. And he's dead ass. That's who SARS want. Is the one nobody wants. The one the society gave up on. That's who we want. See what I'm saying?
To join Sicari.
Hey. That look. That's the essence of what we do. And look, Sicari.
Try to get the thug niggas.
Sicari is a younger demographic, right? I'm one of them. Triple O's in Sicari, right? It's a lot of young brothers, and it's a lot of young
ancient O's.
All right. Look. It's a lot of young brothers that came from certain environments. Yeah, it's raining out there, right? It's a lot of young brothers in Sicari that came from certain environments, right? What was about that life? There was drugs and gangs and crime, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of things going on. But guess what? When that man turned from his wicked ways to return to the Lord, and he returned 10 times more, trust me, it ain't nothing more loyal, more comforting, right? Than to have brothers around you that turn their life around for that, and it's all about the Most High. You see what I'm saying? That's why SAR's eyes brighten up when he see the lowest of the low gangster. And I peeped it. I was like, he was dead ass. He was mad because nobody ran up on that nigga with the face tatted up. Hey, look, but I learned from that.
I'm looking for a long ghost, man.
I know you are. But look,
On Captivity.
real talk though, look, that's how we gotta look at it, bro. That's how we gotta look at it. Because if society gave up on that man, and you know he an Israelite, but the chances are he an Israelite, the Most High ain't gave up on him. So we commanded to go let him know. Finish that up.
Verse 19, Ezekiel 3. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul.
Right, and what?
Verse 20. Again, when a righteous man doeth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die.
Right.
Because thou hast not given him warning, he shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he has done shall be not remembered, but his blood will I require at thine hand.
You hear what I'm saying? This is going even further, because literally what Ezekiel is saying is, okay, you better off being the most gutter, most wicked brother on the planet and not knowing no better. You stand a better chance than the brother that know better, right? It's still our job to go talk to either one of them, but when you see a brother that got his hand on his plow start slipping, man, you better grab it, because not only is he gonna die, but the blood gonna be on you as well. That's why we bear each other's burden. We keep each other accountable around here, because that's what it takes. You see what I'm saying? It's real simple when you boil it down to family, because you do things to family because you care about them. But when you realize your family This ain't your brother and your sister and your mother and your father in the house. It's beyond your cousins. It's beyond your kinfolks. It's your nation. See what I'm saying? When you start thinking like that, you're gonna start caring about the brother that's down on his luck, sleeping in the alley, probably having substance abuse problems, fresh out the halfway clinic, ran out, you know what I'm saying, ran out of his allotment of the methadone or whatever he's trying to get off of. You gotta have compassion for that brother too, because you don't know who the Lord can use, right? I know he used all us low down degenerates, so I got faith for anybody. You feel me? See what I'm saying? Is that it on that? That's it. All right, close it on that. And look, I ain't gonna keep you. You know what I'm saying? We about an hour and something, hour and 17. I'll open it up for a couple questions or any comments. You know what I'm saying? In the chat, real quick. You got a piece of? Go ahead.
We were talking about the goal we're trying to find.
Did we finish that?
No,
You want to do five? Look, pinpoint it with this. One of my favorite little blocks of scripture. Sirach chapter 2. We're gonna go to Sirach 2 and 5. You got it right there. There you go.
Come, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire,
Right.
and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Right. This is the furnace of adversity. This is the spirit. You see, the Most High said King David was a man after his own heart, right? That's because that man had no fear. He had no fear of the wiles of the world. As a young man, what was he famous for doing?
Killing the Philistine.
Killing the Philistine giant, right? Goliath, right?
Wrestling the lion.
Right? But before he did that, he was out there tending to his daddy's sheep, right? Jesse had the young boy. See, he the young boy, right? Jesse had a young boy out there tending to the flock. But guess what? You got predators out there in the wild. What was David doing? He's grabbing them by the beard, slaying them, lions and bears. The man had no fear. See what I'm saying? Because he feared the Most High God. You want to see times where David trembled? Is when he felt like he went off and he was on his knees praying to the Most High God. That's the only time you're going to see David quake. See what I'm saying? What you got? What you want? Nothing, right? But yeah, we got any action in the chat?
Nuh-uh.
All right. Lord willing, you know what I'm saying? Y'all receive a little edification out of this. You know what I'm saying? Baba Shah, like and share this video. Help us get this word out there. Right? And unless we got any, you got a precept in here. Any questions from the room? Good to go. I seen brothers taking notes, all praises, right? Little rain coming down, but like I said, another episode of the Couch Captivity created. Moral of the story today, you gotta be tried by the fire. You gotta endure. You know what I'm saying? Take this suffering right now with gladness, but put the work in to make the call into election sure. And with that, I'm gonna get call off, Yahweh, Shimmy Hawashai, and Kwam Yashua.
Kwam Yashua.
On me. Is that A for Atlanta or the A's, man?
Y'all gonna let us close
Definitely
up?
not no AIDS. There you go.
Y'all gonna let them close out, or y'all gonna just keep talking?